Barbershop Podcast, coming to you live from Boxo Studio, episode number 82. 82, is that right, Ryan Cannon?
That's what the counter says.
That's what the counter says.
It's 82.01. I don't know what that is.
Well, that's on the nuclear clock. So
oh, okay, yeah.
You know
there
that's
must have been
correct.
a leap year in there somewhere.
Yeah,
I don't know.
something happened.
Yeah, something.
But something happens each and every week right here at Boxo Studio.
Yeah. I'll leave the comedy to you from here on in.
Good luck with that. Live music from the blast furnace of live music, in Canada, Hamilton, Ontario. The very best of Hamilton music and musicians here at Barbershop Podcast each and every week from Boxo Studio, bringing you the good stuff. And this week is absolutely no different. Beautiful, warm, summer, crazy weather here. Not only the heat and sunshine, but the tornadoes and the rainstorms.
Sharknado. A sharknado.
It was a bit crazy.
Yeah.
We lost a few good trees, but we're all here, and we're better for it. And in the studio this evening, you have a real treat for you. One of the Hamilton heavyweights in the blues scene, playing some great original music, stylistic and bold, for your listening pleasure. Mr. Troy Harmer and the Persuaders in the studio with Alyssa DuPuis and Stevie Tomalty. How you doing, guys?
Good.
Hey. Everybody happy?
Yeah, it's great to be here.
It's hard not to be happy when you're surrounded by the love that is Hamilton, on a daily basis. Come on, it's not all Bart and Bus, There's But a life in music, especially blues music. I've had quite a few great players in here over the last 82 episodes. And when I get someone in who plays disciple of the music, as you are, I'm always interested in your own personal journey and your own take. Because to play something that is readily identifiable yet still very unique and personal is a great thing. And I think true fans of the blues appreciate that there's a difference between cookie cutter blues and, from the gut blues. And you guys certainly do it with style and aplomb. 100 mile an hour. You've been obviously playing the guitar a long time. When did you fall in love with the guitar?
When I was about 12, I started playing. My cousin got me into it. He had a band, and they used to have jams at the house, and I'd go over there and go, wow, that's cool.
So it was like live music before recorded music. That was what caught
really,
you.
Yeah.
Cool. And who was like one of the first things on the radio? Was there a band or someone that you started identifying with?
Zeppelin, Hendrix, the Rolling Stones, and then first big concert was probably like Stevie Ray Vaughan, and then I was hooked.
Yeah, he was. I remember in 1980, I was just starting at Mohawk, and I was at a bridge tournament. Not bridge, euchre. Euchre was big, that's right. I really didn't know what I was doing, but I faked my way into a third place finish. And so I won an album from the college radio station, and they had the Romantics and Stevie Ray Vaughan's first album. They were out of the Romantics, and I thought, okay, yeah, that's right. I saw this guy on TV because they were just doing Much Music or version of that anyway. Mm-hmm. And boy, I'm certainly glad it changed my life listening to that.
Yeah.
The style of the blues, so was one of your early influences was the blues, as opposed to someone who fell in love with a rock band and then kind of became a fan of the blues along the way. Blues was pretty front and center early on, then, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
I mean, even Zeppelin, in these bands like this, a lot of blues influences.
For sure. Yeah. So, like the British Invasion blues, those guys.
Blue-Eyed White Boy blues.
Yeah, the Jimmy Pages, the Jeff Becks, the Eric Claptons, those guys. For sure. That's what I first latched onto, and then I started fishing deeper back. And that's kind of how I think most people...
Yep.
It happens, I think. And then all these songs that Zeppelin do are covers, and all these are the guys that wrote it. And you go back and find out where it all came from. It's amazing.
In their own special way.
Yeah.
How about you, Alyssa? Were you always like someone who wanted to be in music, or was it thrust upon you?
A bit of both.
Yeah.
When I was fairly young, maybe like between 9 and 11, my dad decided to do a family band. I was playing guitar at the time, but my dad played guitar, my brother played drums, so he's like, Alyssa, you're playing bass. So it just kind of got thrusted into my hands, but I embraced it, and I was always a huge fan of music. I love singing as well, so yeah, just fell into it.
So how did you approach it? Was it something like, I'm taking my lessons and I'm playing with the family band, or were you right off the bat starting to get creative and find your own place and write your own stuff and hang out with kids your age who played music?
I ended up, I understood, what the notes were and everything because I played guitar, but I didn't ever take a private lesson for bass or anything like that. I took it in high school. That's pretty much it though. Like I have a really good ear, so I lifted all the bass lines.
Yeah. I think that's crucial. Anytime you're playing in a band is have all of you have a good ear, if at all possible.
Yeah.
How about you, Stevie? Were you a music rat or?
Yeah and no. I'm the only really musical guy in the family, that's for sure. I started playing violin and drums around the same time, and obviously didn't do very well at the violin. So I did the drum corps thing when I was a kid.
I've never heard you play violin, so I can't say.
Yeah. Well,
I want to see that.
I don't think you want to.
And the drum corps thing, you dug the marching aspect of it, or no?
Yeah, well, I was really young. I was around 9 when I joined the drum corps, and it was kind of like joining the military back then. And the Hamilton, the Ridge Raiders, and the Hamilton, and the Conquer 2,
That's pretty serious stuff when you watch it. I remember I did a documentary years ago for the drum corps, and that is something that takes a lot of dedication.
Yeah, I got burnt out at the age of 12, if you can believe that, yeah. Most kids get burnt out at 18, I got burnt out at 12.
It can happen. It gets ruthless out there. So Troy, tell me about when you started gigging and you gave birth to your version of the blues. Were you playing in a more mainstream band, or did you want to be a blues man right off the bat?
Actually, the biggest criticism I had about when I first started doing original music was that it was so eclectic, because I'm into a lot of different things. I love blues music. My older CD that you have there, a lot of people said it sounds like an independent compilation album, because there's a ska song on there, and then there's like a folky song. There's a couple of instrumentals. Some of it's funk, some of it's blues. So it's kind of all over the map. But I never saw that as a bad thing.
Yeah, it wasn't by design. It's just what you were writing.
The song calls for that. Let it go. And nobody ever told Queen that they couldn't write stuff. So I said, I'm going to follow that example rather than try to be something. With my new project, I'm trying to streamline it. It's going to be a blues album for sure. I think it's easier for marketing and stuff. Doesn't mean that I'm not still interested in other things, but it has been a passion of mine for a long time. So this is sort of my this going to be this next project's going to be strictly blues.
And that would, blues being of so many layers and categories. How do you subcategorize your blues? Is it Texas jump blues? Is it?
I call it funky rock and blues. That's what I call it, if I had to put a name on it, because there's a lot of funk elements and a lot of different influences that seep together. I went to school to study jazz, so there's even some of that in there, which isn't a stretch, I suppose, jazz and blues, but so sometimes more jazzy
right.
the elements come out and stuff. So, but yeah.
What was the elements that these two brought when you were putting this band together? Because going through incarnations of the band, you in your head you're like, what you want, and you keep kind of chipping away until you get what you want. What did these two bring?
Well, Steve brought beer. Yeah, he used to bring beer all the time, and then I'd be like, "All right, Steve, you're in."
He's got a car and everything.
He's got a car, place to practice. Actually, I met Steve from a bunch of jams he used to host with the Hammer Tones and stuff, and I used to sit in with those guys sometimes. I was officially a Hammer Tone for about 2 weeks, and then it didn't work out for some reason. I think me and Steve together just made too much beer or something. I don't know.
Something happened.
No, I think what actually happened is it was economics. They couldn't afford to find a fourth guy. They were booked as a 3-piece band for years and years, and then they tried to, approach clubs and say, "We got another guy in the band now. Can we get more money?" And no, we want to pay you the same as we did before. And then that didn't work.
You laugh, but it's
true. That's
so
not
true.
Yeah, it's a sad reality. That's why this band's a trio. I mean, if I had my way, I'd have a
17-piece band, yeah,
Well,
like Brian Setzer.
6. I'd have a organ, I'd have a conga player, I'd have a second guitar, maybe a couple of horns. But for my recording, I have that because I can call upon my friends to come in and guest in on stuff, and I can get a lot of some of the stuff you're gonna play has organ on it and stuff. And but yeah, for economics, this is the best version of the band I've had so far. It's Alyssa's a fantastic singer, and she's perfect at learning this. Once she learns the song, she's like a machine. It comes back every night.
She's the one reminding you when you start to forget.
Yeah, I'm like, oh
fade
yeah,
out.
it goes to a G there, does it? Oh yeah.
It's like having a young whippersnapper in who got a fresh mind. They're going to go to
Exactly.
work, get that stuff done.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the production element. I mean, recording music, that's a big part when you become a songwriter and you start producing your own stuff. You were a very hands-on guy. Do you like recording it, or did you just kind of surround yourself with people who had those skill sets?
I have a love-hate relationship with recording because I want to have my songs realized, but I find it painful because I'm always critiquing and I'm always like, oh, this could be better. I could redo that. And that's why this album's been in the works for so damn long because it's like now that I have a home studio, it kind of backfired. That CD that you have there was done a long time ago. I did it in the studio. It cost me about $5,000 to make. And I figured, why don't I just buy the gear, have a studio at my house, make as many records as I want? And then I haven't put one out in 15 years now. Because now I can keep tweaking it and mess with it. Before I'd run out of money and
It had to be done. Yeah.
It's done. Here it goes. There it goes out. And now I'm just, but I'm trying to be, this year it's coming out. This year it's coming out. I'm trying to be firm and say, you know what? It sounds good. Just add the parts. There's a couple songs, it's missing a sax part or it's missing a keyboard part. I'm going to get those parts done and put it out this year for sure. So I am hands-on now. I have a home studio. I did most of the work at my house. Previously I went elsewhere, and there's a huge learning curve to work in the gear though, right? Like recording is definitely an art. Especially miking a drum kit and getting good sounds, like having a room that sounds good, having proper mics to capture the sound. It's amazing what you can get, digitally now for so cheap. We were talking about that earlier with what you can set up. The technology that's available now is amazing.
Still got to know how to work it, though.
Still got to know how to work it.
Yeah.
It's not.
That creativity is there, and I think the people who have always been able to make music out of shoe boxes and fence string, the same people who can make good recordings, good videos. You lose sight of that sometimes, especially with roots music, which is what we feature here quite often. Is that it's the way it affects someone's heart and mind. So let's play something off the new CD. Nothing at all. Anything you want to tell us about this particular song?
Lyrically, I think it's one of my favorites. It's about taking chances and doing what you love, and not settling for what's a safe thing. Chasing your dreams, and if the consequences of not chasing your dreams, you'll have nothing at all.
What's is there a working title for this CD?
Born to Sing the Blues is going to be. Yeah.
Troy Harmer and the Persuaders, Born to Sing the Blues here at barbershoppodcast.com. Nothing at all.
I got nothing at all. I got nothing at all. I got nothing at all. I got nothing at all. Chasing what you dream of sometimes means living poor. But if that dream's worth chasing, what's more worth living for? Too many people give up dreaming for gold, trading potential for pay. They wind up working at some menial job, where at the end of the day, they're left with nothing. They got nothing at all. 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 Going with your calling, doing what you love, setting certain standards for what you rise above. Too many people take on jobs that they hate for social status it brings, losing the chance to reach the pinnacle that don't mean a thing. They're left with nothing. They got nothing at all. 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 Living for the feeling, making life complete, knowing satisfaction of daring to compete. Too many people at the risk of success scare them from playing the game. They turn their backs on all that's true to their heart. Nothing substantial remains. They're left with nothing. They got nothing at all. 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 Oh no. They got nothing. Oh, a whole lot of nothing.
Nothing at all. Troy Harmer and the Persuaders, Born to Sing the Blues, and we've got them here at Barbershop Podcast here at Boxo Studio. Live music, the best of Hamilton music and musicians each and every week. BarbershopPodcast.com at Podcast Barber on Twitter. Follow us on Facebook, Google Plus, Stitcher Radio, iTunes. Put us in there, find us, share us with your friends. It's all good for the Hamilton and surrounding music scene. A lot of different stylistically elements to the blues there. There's a lot of that second generation blues when like Robert Cray came in and kind of revitalized the blues scene, and Eric Clapton made another pass at it commercially. A lot more people were made aware of the blues.
Incidentally, you said the name The Persuaders comes from Robert Cray.
Yeah, Strong Persuader.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
When that album came out, that was, it was powerful and classy and tight.
Yeah.
All at the same time.
Slick.
Yeah. Had that element to it. Who were some of the other blues greats that you started kind of peeling through and you subsequently have found influenced your style?
Oh, okay. Jesus, could be a while.
Yeah.
Johnny Winter, Freddie King, Stevie Ray, and the Hendrix stuff. That's Jeff Beck, Albert Collins. I know I'm going to miss somebody when I go home. I'm going to say, I can't believe I forgot to say.
Yeah.
This is
Buddy Guy,
Buddy Guy, for sure.
And just even in the Kings, I've had many battles on who's the coolest King, and I'm a Freddie King fan, but who's to say?
Freddie was the total package, like his singing voice and his guitar playing. I don't think you can compare him to anybody. Like, you could say there's better singers, there's better guitar players, but he had both things going on. Like, it was amazing.
Yeah, I've seen him rip stuff up where it's like, that's lifted almost note for note for half of the stadium rock stuff I grew up on.
Yeah.
They're just totally ripping off Freddie King. It was just groundbreaker in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
A lot of cases. Now, musically, playing live, I mean, that's the reason most of us continue going back. I mean, going in the studio has its own thrills, but a bit of a torturous experience also. And it's like having a child, you know, it takes a long time. It's painful and expensive. But playing live is kind of what it's all about.
It's
like,
the quick fix.
It's the quick fix, you know. So,
Yeah.
so this is something that you still strive to do on a regular basis, right?
Oh, for sure. Well, in today's market, that's as a musician, that's kind of where your bread and butter is now. Like, there's not a lot of record sales anymore. There's not a lot of, at least I'm finding teaching's way down. So performing is sort of my marketable skill now.
Yeah.
In terms of staying busy. So yeah, we try to play as much as we can.
Excellent. Well, we're going to give you everyone a taste of it now. We're going to get you strapped up and get ready and start to play one live. And I'm going to do a little bit of chirping about upcoming shows that we've got going on each and every month at the Casbah Barbershop Podcast. The Boxo Studio puts on a function, and we're making you aware of one coming up in July 3rd, Thursday, July 3rd. We've got a big one, Exile on King Street, all-star band, all-star group of singers doing the 1972 classic Exile on Main Street by the Rolling Stones. We'll be giving you posts and links to that, but make sure Thursday, July 3rd is clear in your books. If you get a chance to see live music, do it. It's something to do on a regular basis, more so than going out to a movie. Just like bread and water, you need music, and live music and real music is like having real food. It nourishes and it replenishes, and it certainly makes life worth living. And every week we get a nice taste of it here at Boxo Studio, and we feel fortunate to be able to share it with you. So without further ado, we've got Troy Harmer, Alyssa DuPuis, and Stevie, Sweet Stevie Tomalty, going to give us a little bit of persuasion here at Barbershop Podcast.
I was born to sing the blues. Things don't never go my way. I was born to sing the blues. Things don't never go my way. You can hear the sound of trouble ripping through in every note I play. Yeah, when I come home for dinner, my baby's not around. She's dining with some other man on the other side of town. I was born to sing the blues. Things don't never go my way. You can feel the pain of heartbreak ripping through in every note I play. I got nowhere left to run, I got nowhere left to hide. Keep on singing blues till I'm satisfied. I was born to sing the blues. Things don't never go my way. You can hear the cry of sorrow ripping through in every note I play. Now let me rip it up one time for you. Gonna keep on paying dues until my dying day. I was born to sing the blues. Things don't never go my way. You can feel the weight of hard times ripping through in every note I play. curse of sadness, ripping through in every note I play. I'll rip it up now.
Oh, yeah. Troy Harmer and the Persuaders kicking it hard live here at Barbershop Podcast, Boxo Studio. What a pleasure. You can get that pleasure on a regular basis. Go out and see live music, and we're going to have a listing of where these guys are going to be playing in the next little while. If you enjoy the podcast, click it on and see where they're gigging and see them live. Now, being someone who likes the guitar and music myself, were you a gearhead early on? Have you got 1,000 guitar stories and ones that got away, or have you got a few axes and things that?
I've got a pretty big collection now. I've got about 13 guitars, I think. They're all different, though, right? Yeah.
Little different personality.
Indeed, yeah. I have names for most of them because they got their own sort of thing, and but I generally don't let them get away.
Yeah.
I hang on to them because I know I'm going to regret that when I give one away or trade one off. I gave one to my niece once, and she went off and played music, so that was okay.
Yes.
I still know where that lives, and I can go visit it whenever I want.
It's like the dog that really did go to the farm,
Right.
Now, as far as being like I see you brought a Les Paul and a Strat.
Yep.
So you got no great allegiance or brand loyalty to a particular.
No. I like Strats and I like Les Pauls, and I just recently acquired a Telly. I like that, but I'm not really into pointy guitars or.
Yeah, something a classic sound, and they said there's. I read Keith Richards said there were two types of guitar players: people who played notes and people who made sounds. Are you a sound maker? Like, do you enjoy kind of crafting your own sounds, or do you like riffing on the notes?
I guess I'm a note maker.
Yeah.
I don't know. If
You stuff a lot of them in there, and then sometimes when someone plays a lot of notes, it's tough to put a lot of feel into it, and you manage to do that, which is, I think that's the telling point.
Well, I think of myself as a musician that works through a guitar. So a lot of the stuff that I listen to, I love horn players and stuff. So I try to play notes, melodies, rather than think like a guitar player. I try to
horn player or something.
Yeah.
That's its place. When you hear a lot of that riffing back in the days, that's what guitars took over once they plugged it in, and it went from being a percussion instrument to a lead instrument, which was the job of the horn.
Yeah.
Now you were playing bass in your dad's bands, and I know from experience, like you brought the really sweet stick bass, and you're saying you've got an F bass too, so you've got some nice gear yourself.
I'm waiting for that F bass.
It's in there, right?
Yeah, I'm a note person. I just like a good solid sound, and then I'm not a gearhead. Like I just stick with what works and what's my sound, and that's good enough for me.
Yeah.
I don't have space for the rest of the stuff.
It's true, especially those big doghouse basses. When you commit to having a stand-up bass, you better have more than an apartment, or a small one.
Yeah.
And a big car to move it.
Yeah. Who are some of your big influences as a bass player?
Well, to be honest, like I'm actually a vocal major. I love playing the bass, but I looked more for vocalists at the time. But I love bands. Like I'm a huge fan of like Prince's band, The New Power Generation. So I guess like Rhonda from there would be good. But I like drummers more than I like bassists, ironically. So like John Blackwell, Sheila E., certain guys like that. So
girls.
Yeah, I really don't have a bass player. I love Bootsy Collins, if that counts for anything.
Yeah, who doesn't?
Esperanza Spalding as well.
Yeah.
I do like their tones.
Jocko, you know, you must be a Jocko fan.
Yeah, I can't
in
go
there.
wrong with
Yeah,
Jocko.
Well, I just want to give a shout out to our super fan JP Zamet, who says hi to you guys, and
Oh, hey.
can hardly wait to see you at the It's Here Festival,
Right on.
which is of course just down the road here at Gage
Yeah.
Park, and it was always my favorite. I wasn't a big fan of Festival of Friends.
Mm-hmm.
Seemed it was kind of a little bit too big and a little bit too detached.
Mm-hmm.
But I always loved the It's Your Festival, which apparently was called It's Your Bag back in the 70s.
Oh, yeah?
When bag just meant your thing. Yeah. And I guess, yeah, it was a hippie term, right? But they're like kind of like, well, it could be a bag of weed or it could be a
Yeah.
scrotum or something. And we really don't want to associate with
Yeah,
that.
let's lose
So
the bag.
Let's
yeah.
lose the bag entirely and go to something else.
It's ambiguous.
So Stevie, are you were you like someone who, as a musician, was gear attractive to you, or you were able to pick up and play anything that was kind
He's
of
got
in
a
front of
warehouse, man.
Well,
Yeah,
right
you got a
now
bunch
I
of
do,
instruments.
and that's
Just
not because
violins.
This is violins. That's right. No, I've only got one small size violin, and it's gonna stay on the wall. But no, I actually lately I have a lot of gear, but it's not because I'm a gearhead, even though Troy might say opposite to that. I only have that because I teach a lot, and I have drums to teach on and to sell or fix up for students. And
Yeah.
I got about 2 kits I work with. I own about 5, I guess, and I got one that two that I practice on. One in the apartment, which is nice because they don't make any noise, and the other one in a storage place.
Yeah.
Or it's like a studio. You know, so.
And even the one that's a nice small diameter kick that you were able to bring in studio for
Yeah.
this particular, I guess use that for.
That sounds great.
Yeah, it's got a nice punchy tone. Right in here certainly is sounding great. So I want to spin do we still spin? Yeah, I guess it turns around. We're going to spin another song off of your upcoming CD.
Awesome.
Born to Sing the Blues, Troy Harmer and the Persuaders. This one's called Cold-Hearted Woman. Sounds like your classic, typical blues song. I
Yep.
take it it's about a cold-hearted woman.
Indeed.
Okay, well, we're going to hear it, and it's from one of my faves, Troy Harmer and the Persuaders here at barbershoppodcast.com.
Come on now. Play it pretty. You're a cold-hearted woman now. You give me nothing but the blues. You're a cold-hearted woman, baby. You give me nothing but the blues. I know if I lose you, darling, I won't have nothing left to lose now. Every time I see you, oh girl, you know you break my heart. Every time I see you, oh girl, you know you break my heart. Cause you're a cold-hearted woman, and you're tearing me apart. woman now. You give me nothing but the blues. Yeah, you're a cold-hearted woman, baby. You give me nothing but the blues. But I know if I lose you, darling, I won't have nothing left to lose.
Troy Harmer and the Persuaders, Born to Sing the Blues, the upcoming CD from Hamilton's Hot Blues Trio. We've got them in studio tonight. Box O Studio here in Hamilton, Ontario. Very best in Hamilton music and musicians. And we've got some jumpin', smokin', bum shakin' blues in the house tonight. These guys can play pretty well all styles of music if they were strapped and had to, but they love to play the blues, and that's what they do, and that's what they do best. So a couple little touches left to do on the CD, but when can people look forward to the release date of this? Ballpark it for us.
Yeah, let's say October, hopefully.
In the fall.
Yeah.
In the fall, pre-winter, you're going to get a taste of the Persuaders, and playing around at festivals, as we mentioned, on the Canada Day weekend, or
the 28th of June, we're at It's Your Festival.
They're at Gage Park.
Yeah.
And you'll be playing the big main stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, excellent. And that's a fun festival. Lots for the families to do, lots of great music, local music, international acts. And as we say each and every week, the quality of music is world class here in Hamilton, and we prove that, and we're proving that tonight. And I'd like you guys to play another live tune. You're
Great.
Cooking it. I have to say you're sounding really good tonight. Nice and tight like tigers. So anytime you're ready.
All right, thanks.
Cool.
So we want to remind everyone, Barbershop Podcast every week. You can catch us at barbershoppodcast.com. And we've got our links there to iTunes and YouTube. Leave some comments, like us, share us. Get the word out that when it comes to live, local, original music, Barbershop Podcast is where it's at. All right, gentlemen and ladies, here we have Troy Harmer and the Persuaders.
Made me a laughing stock with everybody in town. I'm better off without her, 'cause she's no good for me. But sometimes your heart can't comprehend what your head finds plain to see. Things are sure to get better, 'cause they can't get a whole lot worse. As time goes by, I know that I must learn to put me first. Things are sure to get easier if there's a bright side to it all. It's once you hit rock bottom, baby, you got nowhere to fall. And I said, whoa, I got this hole in my heart. Oh, baby, baby, I gotta have you. Try to make a brand new start. Oh, baby, baby, can't stand to lose you. Well, I never saw it coming. It took me by surprise. She disappeared without a trace. You know, she never even said goodbye. I'll never know her reasons. It happened oh so fast. I thought she was my soulmate, and I thought our love could last. Things are sure to get better, 'cause they can't get a whole lot worse. As time goes by, I know that I must learn to put me first. Things are sure to get easier if there's a bright side to it all. 'Cause once you hit a rock bottom, baby, you got nowhere to fall. And I said, whoa, yours was the best love I ever had. Oh, baby, baby, I gotta have you. Oh, I can't stand the feeling when I'm hurting this bad. Oh, baby, baby, can't be without you. Get better, 'cause they can't get a whole lot worse. As time goes by, I know that I must learn to put me first. Things are sure to get easier if there's a bright side to it all. 'Cause once you hit rock bottom, baby, you got nowhere to fall. And I said, whoa, there ought to be a law against looking so good. Treat me like you should. Oh, baby, baby, can't live without you. Oh, now can't stand the feeling when it hurts so bad. Can't be without you. I got this hole in my heart. Can't stand to lose. Was the best love I ever had. Can't be without you. Can't stand the feeling when I'm hurting so bad. Can't be without you.
Troy Harmer and the Persuaders here at barbershoppodcast.com. Excellent. If you want to treat yourself to the blues, you need to do that. We've got a lot of blues happening here in Hamilton, down at the Bay City Music Club every Sunday. They got a blues jam going on there. Pick up a View magazine or Hamilton Blues Society, anywhere where there's groups of people. It tends to be a community, and the blues community is no different. If you enjoy the music, explore it. Find some real original and honest to goodness home cooking. It'll do you good in the long run. Blues 101. People who know they like it but don't know a lot about it. There's elements to what makes a great blues song. Even though stylistically they can be so different, there's still some things that you have to have. I'll start it off, and we'll pass it around the room.
Okay.
You know, for me, it's like it has to start with a groove. I think a blues song, it's always going to be kind of a story and a call and response, but it has to be something that is patterned right away, and it has to be something I think that's kind of there's an emotion that's immediately in it. So, you know, I think a blues song, to be successful and to make a connection to people, it has to have, and you can call it a hook, but it can't be too many notes, but it's something that's right in the pocket. And, you know, that's something I think is crucial to a blues song. What's another thing that you think?
The mood.
Yeah.
The mood of it has to be somber. There has to be, like, technically that last song isn't a blues in that it's not 12 bars and it doesn't go dent 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 dent, but that's definitely bluesy. Like
Yes.
that song, it's got that mourningful kind of feeling to it, the melancholiness of it. If it's happy, it's not blues.
Yeah, there you go. It wouldn't be called blues now, would it?
I think for me, like, again, listening to, like, you know, the roots of blues, like, you know, the cotton picking songs, or listening to Howlin' Wolf, Muddy Waters, like all those guys, like, there's this raunchiness to it. Like, it's just this, like, raw groove, and there's so much soul in it, and it
Very
just,
sexual. It's
Yeah.
like, and confident. I don't see there's a lot of meeky
Yeah.
blues songs.
Swagger.
there's a lot of character in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really distinct character, and I think that's what makes a blues
Well,
song.
blues song.
Yes.
All of the above.
Still those my answers.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, what throws me is what's considered blues today when they mentioned the Black Keys or Mumford and Sons.
Yeah.
And it's like, what makes that blues? But I mean, I think if you want to look at the term blues as music with feel, I could see that with those bands. But but when you say blues, it's such a huge genre.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think it is anyway.
And traditionally, you know, like all songs are stories, you know, so all songwriters are storytellers. But blues really gets the point across in a quite often it's the same phrase repeated over and over, and it's that mantra of the song where it's like this song is summed up in 6 words, and I'm going to have to repeat it 3 or 4 times before it actually gets through your head. That's all really you need to know about the song. And I'm not going to go into exactly why, but I'm going to tell you, you know, what she did, how it made me feel, and what I'm going to do about it. And it's going to happen in 6 lines.
Yeah.
And I think there's that economy of writing, but still the passion and the story that's in there.
and that, even on that, what you said there, even with that little bit of information, you could take it and you can make it into a vast song, complexity, intricacy, jazzy, whatever, you know what I mean? And that's the thing about blues. You can make it as complicated or as simple as you want to.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure has been said a million times.
And I've often thought of it. It's like, okay, it's a structure as far as, you know, you say there's a traditional, 12 or 14, 16 bar structure, and it's going to be like this. But quite often, a blues song doesn't have to fall into, like you could get a paint by numbers kit, and if there was no key to tell what color number 7 is, we're all painting those lines, but every one of our pictures would look completely different if we were allowed to pick whatever colors.
Well, also with blues, like, it's still kind of improvised. Like, yeah, you have the form and everything, but you're feeling the other musicians around you. You're feeding off of that. You're listening to the soloist and trying to pick things. You're listening to what the drummer's doing. Like, you're constantly trying to mesh together and, like, create this energy. You're not just playing the notes, like the paint by numbers kid.
Yeah.
It's like, instead it's kind of an abstract
The
thing.
sum is greater than the parts. Like
Yeah.
you can't play that song as individual bits.
It's constantly moving and breathing, and we're responding to each other. So that's what I love about it, actually, is that there's confines. We've got to paint within these lines, but we can go here, or anywhere in between that, and we're still going to catch each other.
You're not just a monkey playing the guitar.
Yeah.
An hell of a monkey.
Yeah.
Well, Monkeys Get Into Trouble, and that's the name of a song we're going to play off of your upcoming CD. Trouble. It's a great name. Getting into trouble, getting away from trouble. It's quite often the source and inspiration behind a lot of songs. Is that enough of a lead up?
That's perfect.
There we go. Well, here's a little bit of trouble we're going to get into here at barbershoppodcast.com.
an hour in a 30-mile zone. Law ain't gonna catch me 'cause I'm on my way back home. Ain't looking for trouble. Trouble has a way of finding me. And I know when trouble gets me, she's gonna bring me to my knees. I went to a party, had a drink or two, woke up in a strange bed with a girl I hardly knew. Ain't looking for trouble. Trouble has a way of finding me. And I know when trouble gets me, she's gonna bring me to my knees. Let me play it for you now. Go! Yeah, go! Searching for a thrill, but if living doesn't kill me, baby, the consequences will. Ain't looking for trouble. Trouble has a way of finding me. And I know when trouble gets me, she's gonna bring me to my knees. Swear I didn't do it, standing by my claim, but seems like I'm the one who always gets the blame. Ain't looking for trouble. Trouble has a way of finding me. And I know when trouble gets me, she's gonna bring me to my knees. Yeah, I'll play it, boy. Come on. Complaining only makes it worse. Good looks are my blessing, baby. Bad luck is my curse. Ain't looking for trouble. Trouble has a way of finding me. And I know when trouble gets me, she's gonna bring me to my knees. Wow!
Wow!
Canadian Blues from Hamilton, our very own Troy Harmer and the Persuaders, which consists of Alyssa and Stevie, and they're in the studio tonight giving us a taste of their upcoming CD, their album release, which is going to happen sometime in the fall, October-ish, and that's Born to Sing the Blues, and you'll be looking for that. Where else can people look for you in the very immediate near future?
Yeah, we're at SBB this Friday and the 20th. We're at It's Your Festival on the 28th. We're playing in Gore Park, you know, that little bandstand.
Yeah, right downtown in the heart of Hamilton.
The date escapes me right now. I think it's the 24th of July.
Sounds right.
Yeah.
And certainly they go on their website that they can go to check you out, where your dates are.
TroyHarmer.wix/Troy Harmer. It's a weird kind of name.
Yeah, what is that? Back from
I don't know.
you know.
That's the option they gave
I got
me.
a deal on that website. They were the Wixes were going out of business.
The Wix, yeah.
You know. It's like it's you got to go Wix if you're going to go big. But Troy Harmer, I mean, it's an absolute treat having you in here. I mean, legitimate hot smoking jumping blues, tight band. Always puts a grin on people's faces when they get to hear this kind of music played with this kind of passion. And you got enough time to do another one for us, right?
Great.
That's what you're saying. Excellent. So we're going to have another live tune from Troy Harmer and the Persuaders. We're going to make sure that leave with a smile on our face, as we do each and every week. Barbershop podcast, and they bring it strong. And it's very real. The blues from Hamilton, Ontario, and barbershoppodcast.com. Troy Harmer and the Persuaders.
1, 2, 3, 4. Loving from my baby, just got some loving today. Just got some loving from my baby, just got some loving today. Been away too long since I could sing this song and mean every word I say. You know I don't take a loving for granted. You know how sweet it can be. I get some more tomorrow. There ain't no guarantee. Lucky enough to get some of her sweet loving. I gotta tell everybody I see. Hey, you, I just got some loving from my baby. Just got some loving today. Just got some loving from my baby. Just got some loving today. And it plays so good, just like I knew it would when she sends a little loving my way. You know, her loving's just like a hurricane. You know, it knocks me right off of my feet. When it comes to pleasing me, you know, my baby, she can't be beat. And I'm lucky enough to get some of her sweet loving. I gotta tell everybody I meet. Well, I just got some loving from my baby. Just got some loving today. Just got some loving from my baby. Just got some loving today. Now when we touch, you know it means so much, more than any words can say. Look out. Just like a hurricane, it knocks me right off of my feet. When it comes to pleasing me, you know my baby, she can't be beat. When I'm lucky enough to get some of her sweet loving, I gotta tell everybody I mean, hey, you just got some loving from my baby. Just got some loving today. I just got some loving from my baby. Just got some loving today. And it feels so good, just like I knew it would when she sends a little loving my way. Yes, it feels so good, just like I knew it would when she sends a little loving more time now. And it feels so good, just like I knew it would. He sends a little love in my way.
Ooh, yeah. Good stuff from Troy Harmer and the Persuaders in here at Barbershop Podcast, giving us that jumpy good time blues. I tell you, you got to go out and you got to check this band out. They are smoking good. World-class music everywhere, each and every day in Hamilton, Ontario. We are fortunate. If you're not from the area, book a vacation. Come here and see us. There's more than just steam museums and waterfalls. You know, there's good-ass music everywhere. Well, for Ryan Cannon and Gary Greenland, I'm going to have to say that this has been another great pleasure. Did you have a good time tonight, Ryan Cannon? I could tell there was giggling going back there all the time.
It was a great one. I always have a good time.
Yeah, I know you always have a good time.
Except when I have a bad time, but I haven't had one yet. So how about that?
Bad times never. Good times always at barbershoppodcast.com. Each and every week, be sure that you join us because we're going to be here. Certainly makes it better when you're here too. Tell your friends, tell your enemies. We don't care. Barbershop Podcast. Thanks, guys, for coming in. Appreciate it. Thank you for rocking our world.
Thank you.
And
Thanks
making
for
it
having
a
us.
little bit better. Hey, our pleasure. Take care, everyone.
Cadillac heading up over the ride. There's a kind of truth in my life that I'm doing what needs doing. Come on, baby, don't you act this way. Please believe me when I say I need you not to feel blue. The king of rock and roll. I'm the fucking smoke coming from the grassy knoll. You will know it hit you till you see the man on Jack's dress. Come on, baby, won't you let me in? I've been living in original sin. I'm dying to keep trying. Can't you see what kind of shape I'm in?